I am here with musician Tom Goss backstage at, where are we again?
We're at Rockwood Music Hall.
We are. We're at stage 3.
Yes.
Trying to remember which number we were at.
That's okay.
So you're here, you have a show tonight.
Yep.
Your new album will be coming out in November.
Yep.
You just had a video release called Berlin.
Yep.
Talk a little bit, that's it, that's all I want to know.
Great.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for talking with me.
Great interview. Talk a little bit about when you first decided you wanted to pursue a life as a musician.
Ooh, I don't even think I ever decided that.
You just fell into it?
Yeah, kind of. I was, I was training to become a Catholic priest. After I graduated from college, I was in seminary. And it was like really, just a really bad experience. And before that, I was in college studying and wrestling. And both of those things are really intense vocations, you know? And so I had just gone through these two really intense things, and I just wanted to sit back a little bit and do something that I enjoyed. And so I had always wanted to make a record, and so I just set about making my first record. And I think it just kind of snowballed from there. Once I made the record, then I wanted to perform that record, so I had to start learning how to book shows, and then I had to learn how to perform live, and then I wanted to make a music video, and I had to learn how to do that. And every time I did those things, I just wanted to do it better. So it just kind of snowballed to this thing until all of a sudden, like, I was a professional musician. And it's kind of interesting because I don't have any training or anything along those lines. I wasn't in bands as a kid. And so it's definitely taken me a little bit of time to put that hat on. Yeah.
Well, you certainly sound like you've been singing your whole life. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the priesthood didn't work out.
No.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
So what I love about your music is that you are a gay male and
Yeah.
you are married, and your music is geared to an audience that is homosexual, but also could be applied, to everyone.
Well, the thing about me is,
music is kind of universal, but you
absolutely.
you get, you're not afraid to speak of things that other people may not deem appropriate to speak about.
Yeah, and I think I'm writing music as a human. I'm writing music as a person, and I'm speaking about my experiences, and I'm speaking about my emotions. Now the emotions are universal. We all have the same exact emotions. The experiences sometimes are universal in the gay community, but not in the straight community.
Right.
I think that we as a community have had our stories squashed and hidden for so long.
Right.
And from a music perspective, I would say that any song that I write, for the most part, is totally interpreted as homosexual or heterosexual.
Right.
It's really in the visual storytelling and in my filmmaking that I put a different stamp on it, and I say, this is what this is about. I'm not gonna spend any time or energy casting a female lead to play my counterpart so that more people will watch it, because it's totally inauthentic to my voice and the stories to which I write about. So I think that's really where my commitment to authenticity and my gayness and the LGBT community really shine through.
And as well it should. This shouldn't even have to be a conversation in interviews anymore. It should be, you are a musician, these are your songs, and these are your videos. And it shouldn't matter that you're a gay musician, that you're a straight musician. It's about touching people's lives with your music and your talent.
Yeah.
And hopefully one day we're at that point.
Yeah, I think we're really close.
Yeah, we're getting
There's so many young people, there's so many young queer people that are just doing their thing, and it's like, it's just a fact of their life, and it comes through in their music, and that's great, yeah.
Now, what goes into writing a song for you? Is there a certain, is it hard for you to write a song? Does it just pop in your head and then you have to write until you complete it? Like, what's your process?
I very rarely don't complete songs, right? Even if they're bad songs, I will just kind of push through it, because you have to write the bad songs to get to the good songs. And so, like, writing for me, it depends on the song. For the most part, it's very organic. For the most part, I sit down with a guitar or a piano and I start playing chords that really speak to me and then elicit some sort of emotion for me, and then the lyrics come from there. But for the majority of this record, it really was lyrics first and story first. and I really was very intentional with what I was saying and how I was saying it, and painted a visual picture with words, and then decided how that should be paired sonically.
Everybody loves to put musicians or like, you know, bands into a box of a genre. If somebody had to put you in one of those boxes, where would you fall?
This is literally I'm like the worst at answering this question, but this is what I'm saying. My new record is I would say that it's down tempo electro groove pop. That's what I'm calling it.
Nice. So it's also got some fun to it.
Absolutely.
It's not just a heavy, emotional type album.
Yeah,
because you're dealing with serious issues that people really don't talk about.
Agreed. I'm not really like interested in writing about going to the club. Like it doesn't speak to me. It doesn't mean anything to me. What I want to do in my life is impact other people's lives and tell my story and hear their stories and be moved and move others. And talking about the club doesn't do that for me, so I definitely like to dive deeper. That being said, you also have to make something that people are going to want to listen to.
Of course.
So you have to be
kind of meet in the middle.
Exactly. You have to meet in the middle, and you have to find interesting ways to tell a story that a lot of people are feeling, and make it resonate with them in a different way.
While all videos tell the story that go along with the song mostly, yours are very cinematic and very beautifully shot. How important is that to you to make a masterpiece out of every video and not just churn out like 100 videos?
Why are we doing this if we're not trying to do something beautiful?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, so I would say it's really, and I've worked with a lot of really wonderful filmmakers as well that have the same kind of vision as me.
Right.
And that's important. That's important when we sit down and start the project. It's important when we're filming the project. It's important when we're editing the project. Every piece of it is, how can we make this the best that we can make this?
Yeah, and as important as your music is to you, another thing that comes through and that you're using your platform for is to help the LGBT community, and you do a lot of charity work and put a lot of hours in. I think that's extremely admirable.
Thank you.
I know people tend to have he's a singer, he can do that, or he's a musician, or she's an actor. Like, you still have to do the time, and you still have to want to do it, and not just do it for show. And
at the end of the day, we're all parts of a community, right? Whether it's like the community of the world, or the community of our apartment building, or the community of our city, and we need to be like putting in good vibes and good energy and good deeds in order to leave this world and this community a better place.
Do you realize the impact that you have on people with your music? Do you feel pressure because of it?
That's an interesting question. I think I do sometimes. I think this is part of, if I would talk about like the problem with my psychology, is I think I spend all my time focusing on the negatives, and I spend all my time on focusing on what could be better or what could have more reach. And I think once you get into this world of like social media, then you become dissatisfied if you don't get enough likes or clicks or comments or this engagement. And there are moments when I'm able to, get my head out of the algorithm sand and read these really powerful notes that people send to me about how my music has changed their life, or how my music has helped them see their own beauty, or how my music has like helped them come out to their parents. And in those moments when I can do that, I feel like I'm doing the thing I was put on earth to do.
That's beautiful. And you mentioned social media and all that other stuff. While if there's a negative aspect to it, and even a psychology behind it, and people making themselves like crazy or depressed because of likes and numbers, and there's also a benefit to it because you are reaching other people, or so many other people, and you have a platform to get your music out to people who may not have seen it. So there are, good and evil. Instagram is both.
Yeah.
Jekyll and Hyde, right?
We couldn't do this 30 years ago.
Right.
Like, it just wasn't possible.
And your new album comes out in the middle of November, right?
My new album, Territories, which is right here. Super, super duper stoked about it.
Yeah.
Comes out in November, and it's very different for me. It's very, very lush, very piano based. I'm super stoked. I can't wait for people to start getting it. There's a couple singles already out. Quayside, La Bufadora, and Berlin, and people are really loving it. So I was really scared to go off in a totally different direction, but I'm stoked.
Does that place of fear make you want to keep tackling that, or
Absolutely.
Are you waiting to see how
No,
this
I
music
think I
turns
could
out?
make the same record, 3 times a year for the rest of my life, and it would be very easy. But why?
Right.
I mean, I think that we're constantly trying to challenge ourselves and evolve into the best person that we could be, and we do that by learning new skills and tackling new emotions and just growing. And so I really always want to challenge myself to grow.
And what has been the most challenging part for you of this career, of the touring, the constant, like you're always got to promote, and it's like sometimes you just want it to be about the music, right? And not the...
It's almost never about the music.
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenging part. It's hard. I think this industry is a lot of rejection and it's a lot of failure, and I mean every day. And that gets really taxing, and so I would say that's the hardest part for me, is I just really need to, and I think so it's really important to just really stay focused on like I say, the emails that I get, the really positive context, the life-changing stuff that I'm doing, so I don't get bogged down with I'm not young enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not writing this kind of music enough, I'm not whatever XYZ is, and trust me, it's that every single day.
Do you feel that, you mentioned the rejection of possibly your music, the rejection you were going to be a priest, and the whole religious aspect of being rejected because of your homosexuality, being gay, being rejected by other gay men, like, seems like a lot of rejection. How do you keep, not saying you were rejected, I'm just speaking as a gay man myself.
No, I feel you. How do I stay positive?
Yeah.
I don't always stay positive. Sometimes it really gets to me. And sometimes, I probably think about what else I would do besides this most days, to be honest with you.
What pulls you through?
What else would I do? Like, what else could be more impactful than this, And again,
really.
I really try to, one of the things I've been trying to do with like my intentionality in the world these days is really try to focus on the wonderful positive things. So whereas before I would get, 100 really great notes, 100 really great comments, and then there'd be one that like, you can't sing. And I would spend all my time focusing on, you can't sing. Now I really try to, like, if somebody writes me something nice, I'm like, because I'm very busy, right? I'm constantly on the move, and people think that, like, I'm crazy when they know me. They're like, how do you do all that? And I'm like, so in those moments when I see something, I'm like, somebody's trying to tell me how my work is impacting them. I really like just try to stop and breathe and take it in and say, this is why I'm doing this.
Well, you know what? Don't listen to the haters. You're doing a great thing.
Thank
you
you.
do a lot of great work outside of your being a musician to help bring attention to various causes that are important to all of us.
Thank you.
So that is extremely appreciated. Keep your head up, keep singing. You're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you spending the time with me for this interview.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem. Good. Have a great show tonight.
Thank you. I will.